Hello and welcome everyone, a new episode of Africa Today. We are going to start immediately as we do have a lot to speak about. The Horn of Africa. Unfortunately, UNICEF or the UN Children Agency announced that famine drought induced a crisis for children in specific for this region. Well, we are going to watch what's going on there and what are the warnings which were issued by the UNICEF in the coming report.
The United Nations World Food Programme said that 13 million people across the Horn of Africa face severe hunger. It called for immediate assistance to avoid a repeat of famine a decade ago that killed hundreds of thousands of people. 3 failed rainy seasons have created the driest conditions since 1980s, with forecasts of below average rainfall set to increase suffering in the coming months. The conditions have decimated livestock, forcing thousands of the region where many farmers into displacement camps. Aerial footage by the food charity body showed vast dusty scrubs strewn with the cattle carcasses. The drought is also spreading to parts of Kenya, South Central Somalia, and Eritrea. Between 2010 and 2012, around 250,000 people died of hunger in Somalia, half of them children. The United Nations Children's Agency warned at the same briefing that many children will die or suffer from lifelong cognitive or physical damage without quick action to avoid famine.
Ladies and gentlemen, Egypt is going to host the COP27 or the Climate Change Conference in Sharm el-Sheikh later this year, particularly in November this year. Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry received a phone call from the U.S. Envoy for Climate Change, John Kerry. And Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry, our Egyptian top diplomat, said that he is going to introduce the African aspirations for climate change in this very important climate change summit. Let's watch.
United Nations Conference of Parties on Climate Change COP27 that Egypt will host in November 2022 in Sharm el-Sheikh represents an opportunity for African countries to deliver the main message. The message revolves around the fact that the poorer countries bear the consequences of climate change despite their limited contribution to global emissions. Moreover, they need more serious assistance to mitigate risks and damages and to achieve zero emissions targets that are ambitious. Hamdi Sanad Loza, the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs for African Affairs, said that Egypt attaches importance to the great international responsibility placed on to lead the negotiations on the climate issues. He also stressed that Egypt's keenness that the upcoming climate summit reflects the positions of African and developing countries and turns promises and commitments into actions. He noted also that the ministry has held a series of consultations with a group of different countries and parties to hear their views on various issues related to climate change. During the consultations, the Egyptian side stressed that need to move towards implementing the various commitments made in the framework of negotiations, while other countries, for their part, affirmed the full support for the Egyptian presidency to ensure the success of COP27. A high committee was formed under the chairmanship of Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli and comprised ministers and relevant agencies to formulate specialized action plans to prepare for the summit in all aspects, with the periodic follow-up reports in this regard.
Welcome back, and to continue with covering this issue with the preparations of Egypt regarding the COP27 summit, which is going to take place in Sharm el-Sheikh in November, and to speak more about climate change in Africa and how Egypt is going to introduce climate change in Africa in this very important summit. We are very much delighted to have with us via phone Dr. Jelane Abdelrazak, former Dean of the Mass Comm and IT Faculty, Suez Canal University. A very good afternoon to you, Dr. Jelane.
Good afternoon to you and to all your audience.
Thank you. would you please, I'd like first to have your comments or your vision regarding the preparations Egypt is taking and which are already underway to prepare for the COP27 conference, which is going to be hosted by the Red Sea resort of Sharm el-Sheikh, and which was announced that it's going to be a green city even before hosting the delegates and guests participating in this important gathering.
As we already knew that at the forum, the Youth World Forum, that had been announced that by His Excellency President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, and where different sessions had been taking place there about the route from Glasgow to Sharm el-Sheikh, as we are going to host the COP27, as you mentioned, in November this year. Which will take place at Sharm el-Sheikh, and we all the ministers under the auspices of Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli are preparing for that this important event that will be taking place by Egypt, and Egypt will host all the countries from all over the world. And we are already have a great and mega and giant projects regarding this important issue, which how to adapt with the climate change.
COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh is crucial to Africa's response at large to climate change. And you, in specific, Dr. Jilan, is involved into a volunteering campaign. So it's going to be not only the state's issue, but it's going to be the youth's issue, the people's issue. If you please elaborate on that.
As you know that all the conferences and all the summits and the forums that already had taken place earlier about to invest in Africa, always Egypt is representative for Africa. Yes. As you know that Egypt used to be the head of the African Union the year before, not last year, the year before. And when we ended this, His Excellency Abdel Fattah el-Sisi said, this is not the end. We are going to continue our efforts in order to build Africa and to be supporting to all the African countries, because all the countries, the European countries, or even America, all the countries, the great countries know that the key to Africa is Egypt. And lately, His Excellency Sameh Shoukry, the Foreign Minister, had asserted last Sunday during his meeting at the Committee of African Heads of State and Government on Climate Change, which took place at Addis Ababa, the capital of
Ethiopia.
Yes, thank you. That Egypt will host COP27 on behalf of Africa. As he mentioned that Africa has been negatively impacted by climate change, despite being the least contributor to polluting emissions, as all African countries together are responsible for no more than 4% of global emission of carbon dioxide. Also, that he mentioned that the African countries have lake resources and do not have enough technology in order to face this important issue, which is the climate change, and how to adapt this. This will let us refer back to His Excellency President Fattah el-Sisi during his speech at COP26 last year, when he said that the developed countries should fulfill their pledge to provide $100 billion to developing countries to address the effects of climate change. So this means that we are responsible of the African countries, that we are going to address issues related to climate change that has been affecting the African countries very negatively, and that we are the key to solve this and to adapt with the climate change.
Egypt spares no effort to help African countries to overcome many challenges, and among these challenges is climate change. And we found that the climate change challenges are discussed with the President's summit talks with Senegal visiting President Macky Sall, for example, just a week or about 10 days ago, and with Djibouti President also in his official visit to Egypt, Ismail Omar Guelleh, which took place just 2 days ago. And even President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi was keen to guarantee that we are going to receive electric cars from China when he was having summit talks with Xi Jinping in China also less than a week ago. How do you see these efforts, Dr. Jilan, and how do you see these efforts as preparing for COP27 summit and to continue with our keen interest to exchange experiences with our brotherly African allies?
You know that Egypt also had a great effort in in starting to adapt with the climate change. Not today only, since years, since we are a new republican Egypt, we started to adapt this according to implement the agreement or Paris Agreement, which took place on 2015. And as we are responsible for Africa, that's why we are now making a new roadmap that we are to be linked with the African continent and to be the key, or to be the entrance to Africa through Egypt. Also, I would like to draw attention that we have a joint project implemented by Egypt in order to make effective new renewable energy that we can also export this to the African countries and also to our neighbors, even west or in east or any place else. You know that we have a great project done in Aswan, which is called the New High Dam project, which is will be a complex plant for solar energy. It's called Bamban. It's near Aswan, to increase the share of renewable energy source to become 20% of the electric energy produced by 2022 and 42% by 2035. This means that when we are going to increase this new or renewable energy, we can export this to other African countries. So we are going to be the source to adapt with the climate change. Also, we have Egypt also had made a great project, which is called the photovoltaic project, which has been awarded by British Energy Institute Low Carbon 2020. That means that we are booming to help also the other countries, and we have a great joint work with with UK in this area of how to adapt with the climate change, and they are going to be investing in the green projects, which will be great for Egypt, not only for Egypt but also for Africa, and we will be exchanged between us and the other countries. Also, this will also take place in Suez Canal
economic zone.
Place. Yes, zone. So we are booming in different projects towards the adapting with the climate change. This will also be impacted on the individuals. Not only it will be internationally, it will be locally also, as there are an initiative, presidential initiative to replace all cars for individuals with new cars, converting cars to natural gas, producing cars by 2023. We are going to produce cars working by electricity. So this means that we are also booming towards production. We are going to use the electric bus system in Egypt's public sector, and also the electric train, which is taking place now under construction to the new capital. So we are having a great investing in how to adapt with climate change. So we make benefits of this crisis to be something benefit for us and for the African countries, and also will make Egypt on the top of the great countries on this mission very specifically.
Amen to that. Very well said, Dr. Jilan. Dr. Jilan Abdelrazak, former Dean of Information and Communications Technology, Faculty of Suez, Faculty in the Suez Canal University. Thank you very much for your input. Have a very good afternoon. And let's go on to end with this light feature. Have you heard ever about fish leather? Yes, there is fish leather manufacturing, and this is taking place in Kenya. And this field is really providing jobs for women there. Let's watch, let's live there in Kenya with this kind of industry, and let's meet, inshallah, same time on Nile TV International with another episode of Africa Today. Many thanks for watching. This was